1995, I was introduced to the concept of wow in a book written by Tom Peters called The Pursuit of Wow. Uh, Biz- Peters was writing a business book, and he was suggesting that in the competitive environment, businesses needed to provide their customer with a wow experience. And as I read that, I began to run into instances myself, checking into the hotel late at night, and when you're being handed the key, you're being handed a hot cookie. And on the way to the elevator, you find yourself going, "Wow!" as you open up that hot cookie. When you look at the price of what you paid for the meal or for the room, the thought of the cookie seems almost silly. But the surprise nature of it, the above and beyond extraness of it, caught the attention. I ask people to explore thinking about the last time you were in a restaurant where you were wowed. And some restaurants wow you by the size of portion, meaning that it gets large. Very often in expensive restaurants, the size of the portion gets quite small. But it is the artfulness with which it's displayed that causes you to go wow. Uh, as I pondered that experiences from reading Peter's book, I wondered what it would look like in classrooms for teachers. And is it possible that it would be a great assessment for a teacher at the end of a week to look at your plan book and decide when did you wow kids this week? As a teacher, you're not wowing students all the time, or you'd be entertaining them. But as I began to explore it, I found teachers who stick those unique elements in to a moment of instruction, to the start of a day, to the start of a unit, that catch that student's attention and cause the student to say wow. And then the teacher looks for ways to build off of that wow into the teaching and learning. So it's the literature teacher I met who opens a unit of study in character of the lead person that the students might be reading in that novel. Not simply dressed in costume, but in effect taking on the character in her response to students. It's the math teacher I met who greeted students on the opening day of class at the door with dollar bills, and he popped and handed a dollar bill to each student. And when the students were all in their seats in front of the class, the teacher said, "Here's the deal. If you pass math, you keep this. Should you drop my course or fail math, you'll owe me the dollar back with interest compounded daily." At that point, a student asked how much that might be, and the teacher went on to build that day's lesson around figuring out compound interest on any given number of days during the school year. The teacher then joyfully, jokingly, reminded a student without homework weeks later by pulling a dollar out of his pocket and snapping it and saying, "This is getting expensive. You want to add it up." My finding of teachers wowing students led me to release a book called Wow, Adding Pizzazz to Teaching and Learning. And all the Wow book are samples of wows that I've heard from teachers. Almost any time that I'm sharing examples in one of my presentations, people will come up to me afterwards to share their excitement of times that they have wowed their students. If we're going to have teachers who wow students frequently, we need to create schools where school leaders build those similar kinds of wows into catching teachers' attention. Favorite example, I worked with a principal of an elementary school who arranged for the high school band to come marching through the middle of one of their faculty meetings, and of course recognizing the extra plus that there were many students in the high school band who had attended the elementary school and had some of the teachers, and took their time to stop and wave as the band went by. I have written a couple blogs, which you can find by searching WOW on my on the website barkleypd.com, and what follows now are two administrators who implemented WOWs in their schools and took the time to share those with me on tape. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you might drop me an email and share one of your WOWs so that I can pass it on to others.
What got our attention is we attended a staff development training with Dr. Barkley, and we read his book about WOW, and then he spent time here with us, and our teachers were totally enthralled with the idea of doing it. And last year we had our children walk the red carpet. We had a red carpet, we had things blocked off like it was Oscar night, only they were coming to school for the very first day. And our county has a system where you can make phone calls to all the parents and children. So we welcomed them, telling them they needed to come because the paparazzi were going to be here to take their pictures. And so that was a big deal for us. And nearly every child came early, got their picture taken. We had huge picture frames and all kinds of outfits for the kids to try on. And they all got to be the person that walked the red carpet and special for the day. So that was our first day, that was our first WOW. And each teacher was to plan a WOW within the first 2 weeks, and they all did. And then our secretary, who was our yearbook advisor, went around and took pictures, and we shared those with everyone in the school.
And so then this summer you created a new idea for this year.
Yes. Well, it was so successful, and of course parents and teachers were asking about it, so we talked about what perhaps we wanted, and we talked about things that our children truly enjoy, and something that everybody enjoys, no matter who you are. Everyone can like or appreciate an animal, so we thought, well, there's got to be some way we can do that. So we talked about it, and luckily enough, a company had materials, some of them you see here, and we ordered those, and we ordered hats for our children, and my mother sewed scarves, and our parents decorated the hallways, and teachers put up bulletin boards. But we brought a lot of materials together, but we wanted our children, because many of them have never been with live animals, to get a chance to see live animals. So we have scheduled birds of prey who are native to our West Virginia. They'll be coming later in the semester, but we just happened onto the Columbus Zoo site, and they had a visiting program, and I thought that perhaps if they were willing to visit schools in Ohio, that since we're only 2 hours away, maybe they would be willing to visit a school in West Virginia. And sure enough, they were. And then I thought, how are we going to pay for this? And we asked our PTA, and they thought that was a wonderful way to spend money that they had earned. And so they paid for the Columbus Zoo to come and visit our school. And every child in the school got to see animals that they would normally never see. A cheetah, a possum, a bird from the savannah of Africa, and African cockroaches, a penguin. Most of them were endangered species. And the ladies that were there were highly trained, talked about Jack Hanna, which all of our kids knew about because they watch him on TV. And so they were all very excited. We probably had 50 parents here that day that enjoyed it with our children. And since then, we've continued on with projects, and our intent is to take it for almost a full 9 weeks when we have our first parent-teacher conferences. There'll be all kinds of projects and things to share with the parents about our unit of study with animals. So that was our wow moment this year.
So you opened with a wow that's really led into ongoing instructional learning opportunities for the
Absolutely.
kids.
That was one of the things our teachers talked about, that they wanted it. While last year was wonderful and it made the children feel special, and we really did all feel like we had contributed to that, we wanted it to focus on instruction. And that's why we brainstormed different ways that you could tie it into instruction, and animals made sense to us.
I thought it sounded really exciting and fun, and something, especially a first day wow, that the kids should just leave wanting to come back the next day. And so whenever I went to, this was a new school for me, the teachers had already planned their wow, and they had planned probably something way more extensive than I ever would have asked them to do, especially being a new principal. There are 138 students in the school, and one teacher at each grade level, and they wanted each of the children to have been to every teacher by the end of the first day. So they all wanted to teach each other's kids. And so they planned activities like team building and craft type things, but then also some dance and some other things like that. And like one of them was spaghetti, noodles, and marshmallows, and the kids were to construct something. They had 20 minutes. And so I just threw out at them that maybe they would want to put the kids in multi-age groups. And so they did decide to do that. And so they had kids in grades 1 through 6 working together in those teams, and they went to each classroom for 30 minutes.
And what would you say you noticed as you observed the day unfold?
Well, what I noticed as a new principal, and I'd never been a principal before, was I didn't have anything to do. So I didn't have, any kids in the office, didn't have any kids crying, nobody was upset. And I just saw they just all looked very engaged and happy, and the teachers were working in partners, so there was not just one teacher alone. They had paired up with others in the building, and so it just looked like a very busy. More toward the afternoon, the teachers started looking really tired and thinking, what have we done to ourselves? But I think it was just a great day for everybody.
You think your staff would agree to want to do it again?
Yeah, I think they would, because they've already talked about even doing it a few more times throughout the year. And so they've gotten feedback from kids about some other things that could happen during that time, and and what the kids liked and what they thought could make it better. So they've been collecting feedback from the kids so they can move forward and try it again and improve it.